so excited to be here today. My name's Lauren Peat, bariatric nurse specialist, bariatric coach, and fellow bariatric patient. And I am just absolutely thrilled that you are listening to me right now, sharing all the amazing tips and tricks that I have to share after weight loss surgery. So thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for yourself. And thank you for most of all, putting some trust in me that I'm going to be able to help you along your journey. So today I would like to talk around overcoming emotional eating after bariatric surgery. So we're going to explore the emotional challenges that we face as patients after surgery, and I'm going to provide some strategies in dealing with emotional eating triggers. So this is a biggie, guys. This is probably what is getting in your way most of the time that is causing all the slip ups. But I wanted to start with a story to begin with because what's life without some stories? So I remember going back a few years now, right before I did all this work, before I knew how freeing life could actually be. And I remember sitting there going, why did I get so big? Right? Like, why did I gain all this weight after surgery? And I was in absolute denial about the whole thing. And I just felt like everything was happening to me, right? I wasn't the catalyst for change. Like everything was in my life was happening to me, and I was struggling. But then I was also sitting there going, well, why did I have surgery? Like, why? And like I knew I had it because I didn't want to sit on the sidelines anymore. Like I knew that. But I also just didn't really get, like, why did I get to the point that I needed that? And then absolute denial about it all until I decided to do some soul searching. And that was like deep into this experience and this coaching journey that I went, okay, well, I'm going to look into a deep dive into why I eat the way I do. And that was when I really highlighted for me that I was using McDonald's as a really big crutch in my life. And I was like, surely there's some story there. There's a story that I'm telling myself around why I eat the way I do. And so I had to take a really big, deep look into myself to be like, well, why is it McDonald's? What is going on here? And I love my mum to pieces. She is one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. But what really it stemmed back to was when I was a child. We used to have to travel over an hour to get to our kind of big city, and it wasn't even that big. But anyway, we had to travel an hour. And so I guess part of our parenting growing up was that, if you're good, you will get X, Y, Z. And I think a lot of us do that as parents. A lot of us put these, oh, well, if you do this for me, I can do that for you. And we tend to reward with food or treats or what have you. But anyway, for my mum as a child, what was told to us was, if you're good, while we're in town, I will get you McDonald's for lunch or dinner, whatever it was. And that was great because I went, oh, yay. If I eat McDonald's, if I'm good, sorry, I deserve McDonald's. And bless my mum, she doesn't even like McDonald's. But that was the story that started to come about. And so how that started playing out in my life is crazy. So over the next few years, that kept happening as a child, and then I ended up at boarding school at 12. And so there I spent the next 5 years at boarding school and got myself some pocket money that I was allowed to spend on whatever I wanted to spend it on. And back when McDonald's did $1 cheeseburgers, you know what? I was a hard working high school student. Wasn't. I wasn't, but I told myself I was. And so I deserved those $1 cheeseburgers with my $10 pocket money. And so off once a week we were allowed to go into town. So I'd travel off and go into town and get some cheeseburgers to eat on the way home, come back and have dinner at boarding school. Fun. And then fast forward a little bit later, 17 was when I met my husband. And again, I started studying my nursing degree, and life was fun and also very tiring and very exhausting. And I deserved to have McDonald's because I was working hard as a tertiary student and I was getting some good grades. Probably not as good as I would have liked in hindsight, but good grades, and I deserve to have McDonald's. And then fast forward a little bit later, and I had my first daughter, and I was tired and I was exhausted, and I just was finding things really, really challenging, as most new first-time mums do. And I was like, I deserve McDonald's and I deserve a large. And then fast forward a little bit longer, and then I deserve two burgers because I couldn't decide between chicken and beef. And then my best friend at the time, we would go to McDonald's together, and she would get McDonald's, I get McDonald's. This is like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we'd still have dinner afterwards. And so I'm having all this food, and then because I deserve it, because I'm tired and I'm exhausted, and being a mum's hard. And I deserve it. And then McDonald's brought out the snack, not the snack wraps, the salads. McDonald's did salads for a while there. And my friend went, well, salads, that's disgusting. And I went, yeah, McDonald's doing salads, that's disgusting. I've never tried one. But you can see how their stories start to influence the decisions that you make and how you show up in the world. And so for me, it was all around, I deserved it. Did my body deserve McDonald's? Hell no. I know that now, but back then that was the story that was going on in my head. And it wasn't even my story. It was given to me by my mum. And I love my mum to pieces, but that's a story that I gave meaning to. I gave it power and control over my life because I deserved it. And I'll let you in on a secret. I was eating McDonald's. I don't know how I afforded it, but I was eating McDonald's 3 to 5 days a week, and probably some days I was having it twice a day. So I might sure might get home from where we were from work or what have you, and I'd be like, I'd already had McDonald's that afternoon, but I'm like, should we have McDonald's for dinner? It was insane. And I still sat there going, I don't know how I got so big. I don't know how I got to 125 kilos. That is one of my stories as to how I got to 125 kilos. But what I want to highlight there is one, that there are stories that you are telling yourself around your eating that are showing up every single day. And that emotional eating, because you're tired, because you deserve it, because I want to feel happy, because whatever your fill the blank in is causing you harm. And like me, you don't deserve to eat that food. It's not about being deserving. Food is fuel. And if you're in the initial stages after surgery, you get that. You're living that right now, that food has lost its power over you. And it's just so good because it's not controlling your every moment. But be warned, if you are in those early stages, you need to take a deep, hard look, because if you let food have the power over you again, it's a slippery, slippery slope. And so equally, your coping mechanisms long term are that you're going to turn to food every time things get emotionally, every time things get overwhelming. And so what's the answer for sleep? When you're feeling tired, the answer isn't food. It makes you feel better, it gives you a dopamine hit, but it doesn't serve you. The answer is having a rest, having a break, having a nap, whatever you need to make yourself feel better. That isn't putting more food in your tummy just because it's going to give you those dopamine hits, just because it's going to make you feel a little bit better. That's not the answer to emotional eating. And so when we look at the whole concept of eating, we tend to eat for two reasons. We either eat because it's being driven by emotions, or we eat because we are actually physically hungry. And a lot of the time we get that mixed up. It's not as clear cut as people would have you believe. But the reality is that if you're eating as soon as you think you're hungry, of course you're not picking up whether it's an emotional based trigger or if it's triggered by you're actually physically hungry. And so learning to differentiate between the two is really, really important. And knowing, oh, actually, I am actually physically hungry right now, and not actually eating on that first wave of hunger and waiting it out to see, am I hungry or am I emotionally triggered right now? And having some coping skills around changing that default response when you eat because it's emotional based. And really working out, where are you hanging out? What is triggering you right now? And some of you will be so far down the rabbit hole that you're completely blind to what is triggering your eating. Because what happens is when you get emotionally triggered, it becomes solidified in your subconscious, and you can't actually, that just becomes what you do. And so you're not even aware of the trigger, and it's triggering you. And so then it becomes a habit. Once you start feeding into that, feeding into that, feeding into that, it becomes a habit, and it actually destroys your self-control. So did you get that? Like, it actually destroys your self-control because it's a habit now. And so learning to create tiny little habits and re-change your process and reprogram your subconscious is so, so important. And that's what I do in my coaching programs. That's how I enable you to succeed. I educate you. I do the subconscious reprogramming, and I change your whole way of viewing yourself to overcome those limiting beliefs, to overcome the emotional eating, to overcome and transform you into who you are, because we know that change doesn't work. So it's around shaping and changing and making sure, not changing, transforming the way you see yourself. And so overcoming emotional eating is so, so important, because otherwise you are going to self-sabotage at every corner. But I have clients that are making amazing, amazing progress because they're no longer being driven by that emotional eating. And when emotions kick up, it gets harder, yes, but they're not defaulting to that eating because they're aware now, and they can make the changes that they need to be making changes to, so that it's easier to default into. If you feel sad, cry. If you feel emotionally triggered, if you're feeling tired, go to sleep. If you're feeling a little bit bah humbug, find someone to talk to. Don't just eat your emotions. And so that's how I can coach you into making some amazing changes in your life, because I have the tools. I'm only one step ahead of you, but this work is amazing. I have clients that are losing weight, that are making amazing choices, even in the face of adversity, in the face of challenges that pop up in your life, because life isn't linear, right? There's always things that pop up in our day-to-day life that get in our way. And so I just want to be the most amazing coach to you. And so if you're like, yes, Lauren, this all resonates with me, I get it. I didn't love McDonald's, but there's something else that's my kryptonite, and you just singing the same song. I get it, because I'm you. I've lived it too. And so if you're like, yes, I need you to help me, Lauren, I want you to click the link below, grab some of my freebies, and then let's chat. Let's have a chat around how I can help you and support you to get on track. It could be through our Success Club, which is a group-based program of amazing women who just want to support and nurture you to grow into the most amazing version of yourself. And I just love hanging out on there. And I'm always in there. I'm always chatting to everybody that's in the club, because I just want the best for you. And so that's what I'm serving you. If you want to join me, if you want to make some amazing changes in your life, get in touch. I'll put the admin email address so that you can either flick me an email, or you can get some freebies. Who doesn't love a freebie? I'll give you my dining out guide, and let's have a chat. Let's work out what else you need from me to support you on your long-term success. So thanks for tuning in. I'm so excited to be bringing this podcast to you. If you love it, please share it. Please get the word out, because I want to coach you to success. And even if you get nothing, take the free stuff, because free stuff is great, right? So take care. Reach out if you need me. Otherwise, I will see you in the next episode.